Welcome all to Off the Cuff, and I am here with the wonderful Salima Hashmi at the Sala 2024 in Stanford. All these people here at Sala are pushing boundaries, but I'll say Salima ji is also trying to break barriers between countries, and she's known for amplifying women voices in Pakistan. She's a painter, activist, essayist, I'll say, and educator, a daughter of the renowned poet Faiz Ahmed Faiz, and a professor of art for 30 years at the National College of Arts in Lahore. She is currently the Dean of Visual Arts.
No, I've retired.
Retired now.
But I'm
See?
Professor Emeritus.
Oh, okay. So at the Beacon House National
National
University in
yes.
Lahore. So very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
So, मैं पहले ही पूछ लेती हूँ कि फैज़ अहमद फैज़ को तो बहुत लोग जानते हैं. He was, was a people's poet. What was his influence in your life?
Well, every kind of influence, really. Because if you think of it, all parents influence children.
Yeah.
लेकिन ये है कि because he had a wider outreach. So I realized even as a child, because when he went to jail and his first collection of poems came out, and my mother, we had a function, and my mother gave me the books to pass around. And people were reading the poetry and they were crying. And I thought, mere Abba jo hai, he has something special to say, which has such an influence. So I realized that, he was my father, but he was also something else to other people. So that's a realization that came very early in my life. And of course it influenced, his personality influenced me. The fact that he was a tremendously generous, gentle, humane person. हमारी अम्मा तो बहुत डांटती थी.
अच्छा.
She was sacht, but Abba was naram.
अच्छा.
So you had this luxury that, when I flunked maths, she would say, go to your father. And my father would say, I never passed maths. Forget it. So yes, and but more than that, he was a friend because he was a person who had confidence that you would make the right decision. So he never laid down the law, and it was always jo dil mein aata hai karo. So that gave you a sense of freedom, but a great sense of responsibility. Sense of responsibility. You always knew that you had to think carefully about what you did, the choices that you made, the options that you had. And that is what one has tried to do. So he did influence.
Absolutely. How old were you when you really, got to know him as a writer and thought like, okay, he's a great.
I think when he went to jail.
Achha, tab
That separation and his absence put a lot of responsibility on my mother. And one also saw that it was not just us, there were many other people in our position. So it gave you a sense of the role of a writer, somebody who was speaking the truth and therefore always in trouble. But so I say it came when I was very much a child, 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, and you told me that your mom, Alice,
Yes.
She also wrote, and nobody
Yes,
knows about that.
She wrote she was a journalist first of all, because when my father went to jail, she had to take up a job, so she became a journalist. She ran the women's and children's page in the Pakistan Times, which was a major newspaper at the time. And she was an activist. She was, Business and Professional Women's Club founder member.
Wonderful.
Children's Aid Society founder member. Tuberculosis Association of Pakistan founder member. And even later in life, Women's Action Forum, this, that and the other. So she was an activist, and she and my father really got interested in one another because of their politics, the fact that they had the same politics. So very strong woman.
Very strong, and I think both were very free-spirited and believed in the freedom and activism, and that's why you are who you are. Raising voices, absolutely. And I read somewhere that when you were young, you had won a speech contest or something, and you wanted books that pertain to art. So how did your interest in art grow? Oh, your parents were
As far as I
writers.
remember, I always used to draw.
Acha.
And because, I mean, it seems odd now, but I was a very, very reclusive child.
Oh,
I
okay.
never spoke. I was very, very quiet. And somehow art was an outlet. And I had my drawing copies were full of drawings. And then even my mathematic copies had little doodles on the side. So it was just something that I loved to do. And my mother encouraged me. So for my every birthday, I got a new paint box.
Okay.
And that was just really went. And then of course in the household, the people who would come and go, they included artists.
Okay.
So I had a chance to look at art a lot. And somehow quite naturally that evolved into, okay, so what do I want to do? I want to do something to do with art. I was not sure, but I also knew that I enjoyed teaching.
Yes.
So it ended up my teaching art.
Oh yeah. Mainly, I think your education is you
Yes,
are an
education is my
education and mentor also. And we were at the partition panel and we've all gone through that pain, a generational pain, I'll say, in Pakistan and India. And but a lot has not been said or talked about that phase where almost 15 million people were displaced, millions were killed, and it was a defining moment for both the countries. So how are you navigating that part of the history through your art or through your education or your life?
I think it's partly to do with my DNA.
Oh,
In
okay.
the sense that, we grew up in a household in which the abiding value was humanism. And the fact that all people deserve to be respected, number one. Secondly, the fact that it was the idea of peace was internalized. My father and mother lost so many friends because of this divide. People who went in the other part, which was India. And my father never got over the fact that so many people he held dear were now distanced from him.
Yeah,
And they too felt that, Faiz is now, they're not able to communicate. And it's not that like the days today of the internet, which brings us all together.
Yeah.
But it was, a letter that was sent from Lahore to Delhi, arrived like 3 months later, never at all, in the same way around. So I think that separation illustrated to me as a young child that, the only thing we can do is to make friends. And that was my abiding influence. To make as many friends as possible across the divide. And in my own community, which was artists, that's what I did. And I remember I took a whole bunch of my students and my colleagues, artists, across to India, and we traveled to Jaipur and Delhi and Agra. And I remember one of my students, who's now quite well known, he was sitting on the steps of the Taj with me. And he said, Mrs. Hashmi, you will go to heaven. Aap Jannat jayenge. I go, why? He says, because you've shown us the Taj Mahal. So yes, it was always a conscious decision. We have to make friends. We have to convince people who are distanced by government rhetoric and politics that no, we have a lot in common, more than they would let us believe, and we make friends. That has been something that I've tried to do all my life.
Absolutely, and your father has always been a voice for a secular Pakistan
and for peace.
For peace also.
Peace, basically for peace.
Yes, equality, peace,
Yeah,
and everything that comes with that.
Treating
the minorities well in your country,
absolutely.
and which is amazing. And now coming to art, I'll say I had heard Javed Akhtar साहब जो हमारे हिंदुस्तान के जाने माने, उन्होंने कहा था कि वही लोग क्रिएटिव आर्ट्स में जा सकते हैं जिनके अंदर कोई कमी हो या एक तशनगी हो, या तो आप उसके बारे में क्या सोचती हैं कि
I think that's true. और वो कमी ये है कि अगर जो दिल की बात है वो किसी और से नहीं की, if you don't share it, then you haven't done your job.
Okay.
You know, as a human being, you do need to share, and all art, music, poetry, film, painting, it is about communication at the basis of it. You know, you can't sit on ivory tower and write or paint something and think I'm not going to share it with anybody. It don't happen that way. Same with music, your voice needs to be heard. And I think that Tishnagi that he's saying, it is about longing, about chahna, you know, and that chahna is for other people to respond to you. So yes, in a certain way, you are not complete. When you said kami hai, to you're not complete unless you have the other person.
Yeah, and I did go to your panel discussion, learned a lot about the contemporary Pakistan artists and even you know, earlier ones. Some were really you know, impactful images that you showed there. So वही तशनगी आपको लग रहा है कि पाकिस्तान में आजकल आर्टिस्ट के में है और वो सोशल इश्यूज को एम्पलीफाई कर रहे हैं और खुल के कर रहे हैं?
बहुत ज़्यादा.
अच्छा.
I think the thing that I can be truly proud of is that contemporary art in Pakistan is among the best in the world. And it is because they are fearless.
Okay.
It is, you know, it is something. You see, the commercial world has yet to enter that world of art making.
Oh.
You know, it's there because through the internet you can sell your work anywhere in the world. But it's not the most important thing. And therefore, unlike other countries, I think
India में काफी commercialism आ गई.
I think that is sad. I mean, of course, artists have to live; they can't starve. But it should not be the primary motivation. So I think why I'm so proud of contemporary art, especially the younger ones in Pakistan, they are doing. I mean, every week I see a new talent. I say, you know, where did this come from? This is amazing.
Yeah.
And just this morning, somebody on the WhatsApp sent me their work. This young artist who has been a miner in his youth, a child miner. Coal. He was working in a coal mine.
Wow.
And then he managed to get to college, to NCA. And his work and his story is just so amazing.
Wow.
I think out of all of that, this man, this young man has flowered.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that is very, very interesting that's happening in Pakistani art, and I'm truly proud of it.
Absolutely. And like we all know, art can heal the past, you know.
Of course.
So, but like when you were talking also, and when I saw the, you know, the pictures that you were showing, something that came to my mind was, is art bound by regional boundaries? Or
I think that's a very good question. Currently, I am co-curating with a young Indian curator, an exhibition that will happen in April in London, in SOAS. And it is a show of young South Asian artists who are living in South Asia. In other words, they're not diaspora. They're living there, they're young, and they're extremely talented. And it's from Afghanistan right to Bangladesh, to India, to you know, Nepal, Sri Lanka.
Amazing.
And you know, when Manmeet and I got together with this idea came up 3 years ago, I said, you know, we have to really research and find out, is there something called a South Asian artist? And you know, what we've arrived at, yes. There is something which is about South Asia, which is specific. It's also universal, of course. All art is universal. But there is something bred over thousands of years of cultural exchange, of linguistic exchange, of certain things that are common across South Asia, and somehow they affect and they influence these young artists. So we are doing this show, and I think that it has taught me a lot.
And I'm sure you teach you know, whoever you meet a lot, and this is such a special moment for me because ऐसे मौके बार बार नहीं आते कि सरहद पार से किसी को मैं इंटरव्यू कर पाऊँ. Being an educator, and you know, you've dealt with so many young minds and students, and what advice will you give to the youth of today to you know, navigate life in today's world where there's so much of you know, crisis going on, there's wars erupting in on religion or region, you know? So anything?
Well, you know, my ustad, who is Shakir Ali, the modernist, he said to me, मैं किसी को नसीहत नहीं करता. I never advise. क्योंकि मैंने अपने बाबा की कभी नहीं सुनी. So I never listened to my father. But the thing is, the only thing I always ask them is, you know, I don't really give advice. I say ask the right questions. That's all.
Okay.
And look for your own answers. That's it. Because my answer is not your answer. My time is gone. Your time is today. So look around, ask questions constantly, either out loud or internally, and find your own answers.
I think that's so perfect. Just be curious, I'll say. And, you know, until you don't have that inbuilt thing to know more about an issue, I think that's coming from an educator, I'll say. Yeah, in the end, you've been so vocal about women voices and women artists. Why, I mean, especially now, why is it significant, especially in today's environment, to amplify women voices? I know there's always been a struggle where women are, you know, 5,000 years behind, you were saying, in so many things. So, especially in Pakistan, you know,
well, you see, because as I said, I'm a very old lady, and I have seen the change, and it's been a sea change. And it amazes me as to the courage of women and how they deal with, you know, it's a conservative, patriarchal society like the rest of South Asia.
Same.
And the fact that they are willing to take on the challenges. Sometimes, you know, they're afraid of life can come in across, you know, in such a way that lives are taken with fury, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's community violence, whether it's violence against a minority. But the fact that women have that sticking power and the resilience is something that never fails to inspire me, to amaze me. But it's not, I've noticed it's not just in Pakistan or just not in South Asia, world over.
It's globally.
You know, it's the first time, I think, in history that this century, the 20th and the 21st century is a century of women. And they are now, I mean, they're still pushing the glass ceiling in politics because they're still in only certain countries where they have positions of power. But you know, you turn around and suddenly you find that the women have taken over a particular industry or a particular way of working.
Slowly.
And they're doing so much better than the men. Because they know that it's, you know, the pyramid is like this. That they are the women without so many efforts, but when they get there, they have made the most of it. So to me, my late husband, God bless him, he used to say, the Pakistani woman is a superior species. And you know, and he was the best feminist. And because he said, you know, in my class, which was Government College Lahore, which used to be a boys' college, he says, if I admit in the MA class, if I admit according to merit, there would be no boys. There'll only be girls.
Why?
It is because they've come a long way, you know. And I believe that women's voices can teach the world a lot.
Absolutely. And we need collaborators like your husband. And, you know, that's why we are sitting here doing what we are doing. And that is very important. So it's also important to, you know, raise your boys, you know, in a better way, which is very difficult these days because of the stimulations they're getting. तो जाते जाते मैं I can't resist that क्योंकि हमने तो फैज आपकी पोइट्री you know, सुनी भी हुई है गानों में और पढ़ी भी हुई है, मुझसे पहली सी मोहब्बत या बोल के लब आजाद. तो अगर आप कुछ थोड़ा सा सुना सकते हैं या any
I was just going to end with the two lines that I love. You know, because people often ask me to sort of say something quickly, and I said, आइए हाथ उठाएं हम भी, आइए हाथ उठाएं हम भी, हम जिन्हें रस्म दुआ याद नहीं, हम जिन्हें सोज़े मोहब्बत के सिवा कोई बुत कोई खुदा याद नहीं.
क्या बात है. Oh, these are so lovely words and best way to end. Thank you so much, Salima ji, for coming on Off the Cuff. It was such a pleasure and a very special moment, and I wish harmony, peace, and goodwill for both the countries. And I hope that, you know, artists like her or anybody, and you know, we exchange at least through art, you know, because art can heal. मैंने तो 2 लाइनें लिखी हैं. After that, I don't. I might just edit it. But मैं वैसे homegrown poet हूँ. और वो मुझे ध्यान आया जब you know partition के टाइम में के बाद क्या होता है, तो कि जब एक घर का बंटवारा हो जाता है, जब एक घर का बंटवारा हो जाता है, तो उसका आंगन भी बच्चों के खेलने के लिए तंग हो जाता है. So I hope we are able to play in that, you know, angan,
The
wider angan, and I hope there's peace. And you know, I feel so much of Adri right now. You're sitting with her and thinking of my ancestors. So thank you, Salim.
Thank you so much.
Shosha is a creative Indian restaurant located in the heart of Silicon Valley. Shosha is a woman-owned business that serves traditional Indian flavors assimilated with molecular gastronomy techniques. The best Indian bar with happy hours in the Bay Area serves handcrafted drinks inspired by flavors from India with modern craft cocktails that are presented in unique ways. Shosha is a modern take on traditional Indian cuisine. We specialize in corporate luncheon, anniversary celebrations, birthday parties, and catering. Do check us out for a memorable modern Indian dining experience. Shosha is located at 141 South Murphy Avenue in Sunnyvale, California.